So let's talk about employee engagement. And our tagline is empower, enable, and engage, or what we call E cubed. And that's really what it's all about. And the power of engaging your employees, I think, surprises us every single day. It's really hard for us to set expectations for a new employee engagement program because every single one that we've focused on has just blown us away. And when you empower your employees and you enable your employees and you engage your employees, great things can happen. And I love this quote from Anne Frank. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. So if we, as managers in our organization, just get out of the way, our employees will start making things better on their own if we empower them to go do that. So here's the definition of engagement. The act of sharing in the activities of a group. Pretty simple, right? Sounds really simple. Well, I think we all know it's not that simple. But this is truly what we're trying to do in our organizations, is to get our people involved in the activities of a group. So let's talk about some myths and roadblocks when it comes to engagement. And some of these you might find humorous. Some of them may just hit way too close to home for you. If everyone can make decisions, what do they need me for? Right? Isn't that why they hired me? Because I'm a pretty smart guy. I make decisions. They don't need me anymore. It's too risky to let everyone make decisions. You know, we're a medical device manufacturer. We make life support and life monitoring devices, heavily regulated by the FDA, heavily regulated by other worldwide medical device regulatory bodies. But what are we thinking, letting our employees make decisions? They could hurt somebody. They could kill somebody. They just don't understand. What makes them so smart? They don't know how to do that. It takes a manufacturing engineer to change things on the production floor. Don't we know that? That's how we've all been brought up. We should only work on the big problems. Little problems can't hurt us. You know, all those little things in the plant, none of that can really hurt us. We need to solve the big stuff. We empower our employees. They just don't want to do it my way. Right? That's what you call an uninspired leader, when they think they want everybody to do it their way. Or we just stand up in front of a room and we declare to all of our employees, you're all empowered, now go fix some problems. Declaring somebody empowered and training someone how to be empowered are two different things. We have to train them. We have to educate them, and then we have to nurture them after that. We just can't declare, thou shalt be an empowered employee, now go make some things happen. Only engineers can solve manufacturing issues. Not true, and we'll show you why. And lastly, it's just too damn hard. Why should I spend all this time when I already know how to do all that stuff? Why should I spend time teaching others how to do these things? But in the end, if you're going to be successful at employee engagement, you've really got to take a look at what you're focusing on inside your company and what's important to you every single day. Every company is driven by something. You're market-driven, you're technology-driven. Today, a lot of us are price-driven. We're product-driven. Maybe we're innovation-driven. We just heard about Parker Hannifin. You know, they've got thousands and thousands of parts. They probably are very much innovation-driven. Or you're service-driven. But in the end, if you really want to be successful and successful through your people, it doesn't matter what drives the revenue behind your company. You've got to be people-centric. You've got to look and focus on the people first and figure out how to make them the most robust part of your business. Now, I'm about to show you a quote that today is probably a little tarnished, but I think it still stands. GM makes cars, Toyota makes people that assemble cars. Now, we could say that assemble cars that may need recalled in the future. You know, we could probably modify this sentence right now, but it still stands true. If you've ever studied Toyota, this is truly, truly the case. Now, I had the opportunity at one of these conferences to listen to a guy speak. He was the head of Toyota North America. It was an older Japanese gentleman. He was giving a presentation on the Toyota people, the people of Toyota. And it was all about Toyota culture, right? And during his presentation, people were submitting questions on index cards. And after his presentation, he was answering questions. And he read one of the questions. And I'll never forget this. He read it and it said, if this is working so well for you, why don't you write a book about it so the rest of us can go do it too? Fair enough. Well, he looked at the card and he looked at the ceiling. He looked out at the crowd, and looked at the ceiling, looked at the card, leaned towards the microphone and said, because you just wouldn't get it. Next question. It's about making your people the fabric of your organization. And that's what Toyota has done, and that's part of what we can learn from them. So we found ourselves at a crossroads. You know, we've been on our lean journey since 1997, and we really started getting pretty good at the lean thing. And then in 2006, we said, you know, we're really at a crossroads because we can't take it any further with just us working on it, with just us leaders and engineers and so forth working on it. And we needed to define our next step in our evolution. And we were doing pretty well with lean, but formally, our continuous improvement programs, we were really lacking. There was nothing that was really formal for us. We were doing it, but we probably couldn't define it, really. So in 2006, we used the IndustryWeek Best Plants application as a benchmarking tool. We did not apply to win. In fact, had we won, the award had been a sham because we weren't ready. When we read the application, just the process of doing the application, of filling out the application, putting a team together, there was about 15 of us, we each took a chapter, and doing that application, we learned so much because it was a gap analysis for us of what's considered world-class and where we actually thought we were, where our own honest, candid assessment of where we were at was. And it highlighted a lot of areas of opportunity for us. And it prompted us to declare a continuous improvement revolution was needed because we were behind what was the definition of world-class at that time. And so we used, and I encourage all of you that have never done this, use the IndustryWeek Best Plants application as a benchmarking tool, as a gap analysis. Since we were a large company, it cost us $1,500 to apply. I think the small company fee is $500, if I'm not mistaken. That's the best consulting you'll ever get, is using that application as a gap analysis tool. And it was fabulous because we got great feedback from the IndustryWeek team. We were elected as a finalist, so we had to go a second round of questions. Those questions they came back to us were fabulous because it told us the areas that they were scratching their heads on and wondering, why do you measure it that way, or why don't you do this, or whatever. And it was really great for us. So we decided we needed to formalize some tools. 5S. So I have a copy of our 5S manual if anybody would like to look at it afterwards, and we're happy to share it. In fact, we were a bit remiss not submitting it to IndustryWeek to put on your flash drive, so we can share that. 5Y. We formalized a 5Y or an A3 program. Quick and Easy Kaizen, which is our suggestion system, and Stephanie will be sharing that with you a little bit later. Here's our guidebook for Quick and Easy Kaizen. We formalized it. QCDSM, quality, cost, delivery, safety, and now we've added morale. We measure morale every day in the plant, and we'll tell you a little bit about that later on. And here's our manual for QCDSM. We formalized it. And we also use fishbone diagrams, which we've seen some use of here this week. And so those 600 people that made possible what we're talking about today, as I mentioned earlier, we began the creation of 600 problem solvers. And we pursued our continuous efforts at a grassroots level. And not to knock a lot of the programs that we've heard about this week or maybe you've seen before that have a lot of fancy nature to them and Six Sigma black belt this and you know, 6S that and all that sort of stuff. We weren't going that route. It had to be grassroots. And this was a grassroots-driven effort. Because if we kept it grassroots and kept it in a language and in a technology that anyone in our organization could get passionate about and could utilize, the results, the potential of the results are endless.